This dollhouse has taken a little bit of a beating. The rail, the dowels and the rails are knocked loose, and the rail itself has come loose on one end. Hasn't come loose on the other end though, and in order to fix it, I want to take it out. So I'm going to just lightly touch this joint in order that when I take it out, it won't tear the paint on the wall. I'm not really even cutting down in. I'm just creating a fracture line there. I think it'll come right off nice and cleanly. And there it is, all nice and clean. The first thing that I'm going to do is I'm just going to clean these up. Just get rid of the chunks of extra glue here. I'm just pinching the knife across the end of the dowels. I'm not slicing because I don't want the knife to dig down into the dowel itself. Now the bottom of this upper rail seems to be in good condition. One of the reasons that I think this probably came loose is that the end of this got painted where it touches the post, and of course any place that you're trying to glue to paint, you don't get a very good glue joint. So I'm just going to scrape up the paint a little bit and get a little bit of wood showing there. And I can see that I've got a little bit of wood showing here, so that's fine. And I'm going to clean the old chunky glue off of this. 3 or 4 seconds in the microwave would soften that glue up and make it easier to take off if there's any problem getting it off, but this came off nicely. More than 3 or 4 seconds and you run the risk of bubbling the paint on here, in which case the whole thing would have to be sanded smooth and a fresh start. And now the place that this originally came loose from the house was where the rail attaches to the post. So I'm going to make sure that I do have a little bit of wood showing there, so I've got something to glue to. Everything looks good. Very nice. I have a little puddle of glue. That is what I'm going to be working with here. And I just touch the end of the dowel into that glue and give a little bit of rotation there, once on each end. I don't want a whole lot of glue here. The dowels are going to fit down into a pocket that fits them fairly snugly. So if I put too much extra glue on there, it's just going to squeeze out and make a mess. I'm going to want this glue to set for a few minutes so that it can get a little bit stiff. Now I'm going to put the smallest spot of glue that I can manage in each one of these locators on the top rail. Not easily visible. I find that when you're building dollhouses, there are places that you need lots of glue. There are places you don't need much. And now I'm going to put a spot of glue on each end. Now the dilemma here is that when I put this rail in, it's going to be trying to wipe the glue off of wherever I'm touching it to. So the first thing I'm going to do before I try to put the rail onto the dowels is I'm actually going to touch the rail once on that end and once on this end. Some of my glue smearing has already happened. I have this nifty little dowel locator that I got from the manufacturer, and I'm going to slip this right down into position. I'm going to tip the dowels into it, and my dowel locator is going to hold the dowels right in the exact spot that I want them to be. I'm going to want to put the top rail in from the front because the dowel locator is supporting the dowels from the back. I'm going to put the rail in until it's just engaged on the corner of the dowel. And now I'm pushing back and rotating at the same time until the rail slips right onto the end of the dowels. And now I'm going to move the rail back into the correct position. Everything is good. I will wait now for 2 or 3 minutes to let the glue stiffen up. Okay, I'm back. The glue is not hard yet, but it's stiff. If I waited long enough for the glue to get hard, any extra glue that I smeared on the dowel that got onto my dowel locator was going to glue that dowel locator in place so that it wouldn't come out. So I want to take that dowel locator out while I know the glue is still soft enough that it'll come out no matter what I've done. Now I will let the rail dry completely. I can see that I have a little bit of glue to clean up on this end, and once the glue has dried in the joint so that I can work that a little bit, I'll go back with a damp rag and some water, and I'll just clean that up. So I'm going to let the glue dry for a minute, and then I'll be back. I'm back. It's been about 20 minutes or so, and I have some water, and I'm just going to clean up after myself here and get rid of the any glue mess that I have left behind. Now I'm going to let the water dry completely because this is lacquer, and this needs a lacquer-based paint to go over it to be compatible with it. Latex paint is not a good choice. It won't stick well to lacquer. I'm using whiteout for this project, and it's fairly new, so it's nice and thin in the container. I'm going to shake it up a little, let that bead do its work, and I'm going to spread it nice and thickly, all the places that show a little wood. And in fact, I'm going to put it in each one of these joints on the bottom at least. I don't mind that the rail came loose when it was smacked. It didn't break, and it's okay with me that it has a separation point either on the bottom or on the top, and because you can't see the top, I'm going to leave that separation point up there. So the lacquer that I'm putting down here is going to considerably strengthen this glue joint, and because of that, I'm just going to keep it on the bottom. Lacquer dries so quickly that you have to put it on and then get your brush away from it, because if you sit there and try to brush it out and brush it out and brush it out, it's going to dry right underneath your brush, and you'll get a sloppy quality joint. There, all fixed.